Socrates. The man who changed philosophy forever. Socrates is a figure who continues to stir minds 2.5 millennia after his death. He left no written works, yet became a central figure in the history of philosophy. He was executed as a criminal, but today he is revered as a symbol of wisdom and free thought. He was declared the wisest of men by the Delphic oracle, yet claimed to know nothing. He held no public office, yet profoundly influenced political thought. He was sentenced to death by a democratic court, but became a symbol of the fight for truth against the tyranny of the majority. Why is his legacy so important? He revolutionized philosophy, shifting its focus from nature to the study of humanity. His method of dialogue laid the foundation for scientific and critical thinking. His tragic fate serves as an eternal warning of the dangers faced by dissenters in any society. Chapter 1. The Life and Times of Socrates. Socrates' origins and early years. Socrates was born around 470 BCE to Sophroniscus, a stonemason, and Phaenarete, a midwife. His humble origins did not prevent him from becoming a central figure in Athenian intellectual life. In his youth, he studied natural philosophy under Anaxagoras but grew disillusioned with speculations about nature. He trained under the renowned Diotima, a priestess from Mantinia, who by his account taught him the art of love, not physical but spiritual. As a young man, he worked as a stonemason like his father, an experience that may have shaped his view of carving truth from human consciousness. He fought in 3 major battles of the Peloponnesian War, 431 to 404 BCE, displaying exceptional bravery and endurance. Battle of Potidaea, 432 BCE. In this battle, he saved the life of Alcibiades, a future Athenian leader, and reportedly stood motionless in contemplation for 24 hours, becoming a legend. Battle of Delium, 424 BCE. Here he was saved by Alcibiades, whom he had once rescued. He maintained composure during the retreat, protecting weaker soldiers. Why did he avoid politics? Socrates deliberately shunned a political career, believing, a true philosopher should teach people to think, not govern. Politics often demands compromises with conscience. Yet he was not entirely apolitical. In 406 BCE, he refused to participate in an illegal trial of generals, risking his life. He openly criticized democracy for its populism and oligarchy for its tyranny. Unlike many philosophers, Socrates took no payment for his discussions. He lived modestly, claiming, "The greatest wealth is to need nothing." His home was shabby, his food simple, and he wore the same cloak in winter and summer. When a wealthy man sneered, "You live as if you're ashamed of your poverty," Socrates laughed, "And you live as if you're ashamed of your wealth." His wife, Xanthippe, is often portrayed as shrewish, but their relationship was more complex. Some accounts suggest her sharpness helped Socrates hone his patience and irony. He spoke of a daimonion, a mysterious inner voice that, he said, kept him from wrong actions. Some modern scholars see this as an early concept of conscience or intuition. Socrates' philosophical circle. His group included future tyrants, Critias; great philosophers, Plato; military leaders, Alcibiades; founders of new philosophical schools, Antisthenes, Aristippus. This diversity was later used against him at his trial. Chapter 2. The Socratic Method, a Revolution in Thinking. The 3 pillars of the Socratic Method. Irony. I know that I know nothing. feigned ignorance to expose contradictions in an interlocutor's beliefs, dismantling false confidence. Meutics, the art of midwifery, helping birth truth through a series of questions, akin to a midwife delivering thoughts, not children. Elenchus, logical refutation, systematically revealing contradictions in arguments, leading to awareness of one's ignorance as the first step to knowledge. An example dialogue. Topic: what is justice? Justice is when everyone gets what they deserve. If a ruler believes enemies deserve death, is that just? Yes, if they're truly enemies. What if he's mistaken and kills the innocent? Then it's unjust. So justice depends not only on deserving, but also on truth. It seems so. The interlocutor realizes their initial definition was incomplete. Why was this revolutionary? It differed from predecessors. Pre-Socratics pondered the nature of things, cosmos, matter. Sophists taught persuasion at any cost. Socrates sought objective truth through dialogue. Modern relevance. The prototype of the scientific method. Testing hypotheses through questions. The basis of pedagogy. Learning through discovery, not rote memorization. A method in psychotherapy. Helping individuals confront their contradictions. Chapter 3. Trial and execution. Why did Athens kill its sage? Political context. After defeat in the Peloponnesian War, 404 BCE, Athens faced economic ruin and crisis, shifts between democracy and tyranny, a search for scapegoats for national humiliation. Socrates was formally charged with corrupting the youth and impiety. His students included controversial figures, Alcibiades, Critias. His teachings encouraged questioning authority, making him dangerous. His daimonion was seen as introducing new deities, and his critique of traditional myths was deemed blasphemous. Real reasons for the accusation: retribution for criticizing democracy, fear of free thought in unstable times. In his defense, recorded by Plato, Socrates declared, "I am a gadfly sent by the gods to stir Athens. Not life but a good life is the greatest value. It is better to suffer injustice than to commit it." His students planned an escape, but Socrates refused, citing respect for laws, even unjust ones, unwillingness to live as a fugitive. In his final hours, he calmly discussed the immortality of the soul with friends, methodically describing the effects of the hemlock he drank. His last words: "Crito, we owe a cock to Asclepius," possibly a symbol of the soul's healing through death. Chapter 4. Immortal Legacy. How Socrates Shaped Western Civilization. Socrates' direct disciples and their schools. Plato founded the Academy, the first prototype of a university, preserving Socrates' method in dialogues. Antisthenes, founder of Cynicism, Diogenes, developing Socratic asceticism. Aristippus, founder of the Cyrenaic school, hedonism, expanding Socratic ethics. Influence on the history of thought. Antiquity, Aristotle, Plato's student, developed formal logic. Stoics, Zeno, saw Socrates as the ideal sage. Middle Ages, Christian thinkers, Augustine, compared him to Old Testament prophets. Modern era, Kant built on his idea of rational autonomy. Mill and other liberals drew on his defense of free thought. Socrates today. Science and education. The Socratic method underpins the case method at Harvard and is used in law schools for argumentation training. Psychology. Cognitive behavioral therapy employs his questioning technique. His method of birthing ideas is used in coaching. Politics. His critique of the tyranny of the majority remains relevant for analyzing populism and defending free speech against censorship. Conclusion: Socrates' lessons for the 21st century. Philosophy in action. Socrates as an antidote to digital thinking. In an era of clip-like consciousness and algorithmic feeds, the Socratic method offers depth over speed. Unlike rapid scrolling reactions, Socratic dialogue demands thoughtful analysis, context over isolated facts. MIT studies show modern users retain only 20% of what they read. Socrates taught connecting knowledge into a system. Critique over consumption. In a world where 67% of news is consumed passively, Reuters Institute, his questions are a tool for intellectual self-defense. Socrates, the great ancient Greek philosopher, did not encounter fake news as we know it, a product of the information age and digital technology. However, his method of Socratic irony parallels the critical thinking needed to debunk disinformation. He used rhetorical questions to expose contradictions in his interlocutors' reasoning, leading them to recognize their ignorance. Questions to uncover disinformation. What exactly is being claimed? What evidence supports it? What are possible alternative interpretations? Why am I inclined to believe this? Philosophy as a way of life in the age of burnout. Burnout, a state of growing emotional exhaustion from chronic stress, has risen alongside a 40% increase in existential anxiety. Who data? The Socratic approach offers ascetic minimalism. His rejection of excess anticipated movements like zero waste, a philosophy of minimizing waste through conscious consumption, recycling and reuse, and digital detox, a deliberate break from digital devices to restore balance. His stoic demeanor before execution is a case study for cognitive therapists. Google's Search Inside Yourself program combines Socratic dialogue with neuroscience to combat stress. Democracy in the age of populism. Socrates, executed by democracy, paradoxically becomes a defender of its ideals, protecting minority opinions. His trial prefigures modern mechanisms for protecting dissidents' rights. Dialogue over confrontation. The Socratic circle technique is used by the UN for conflict resolution. Elitism versus equality. His belief that true knowledge requires effort challenges the modern cult of simple solutions. By the numbers. Countries with philosophical education, e.g., France's philo courses in high schools, show 25% higher civic engagement. OECD data. AI assistants like ChatGPT are most effective when using the Socratic method of questioning. OpenAI research. In the wake of corporate scandals, from Enron to FTX, Socratic principles are becoming a business model. Ethical audits. Red flag methodologies use his questioning approach. Servant leadership. His rejection of power inspired this concept. Corporate sustainability. Companies like Patagonia and other B Corp apply his principles. Boeing, after the 737 MAX crashes, implemented a Socratic safety questions program. Asterisk, not life but a good life, is the greatest value. Asterisk, which Socratic principle resonates with you most? Know yourself. Doubt everything. Truth is born in dialogue. Better to suffer injustice than to commit it.